Now we set up?
Yep.
I thought you was taking my picture all the time.
So today we wanted to start out from your birth, Gramps.
Well, I don't remember when I was born. I don't remember my birth.
I imagine that'd be a traumatic experience for anyone.
It was a very traumatic experience when I was born. My mom dropped me on my head. Yeah. Middle of winter too, and Jesus Christ, it used to be cold over there. That old shack is still standing, pretty lonely looking now, all by myself. That's where my Google was. That was her house. I guess she's married to a Paiute guy, or your dad probably remembers his name, or your grandma. His name was Benny George.
Hmm.
They said he was half Paiute and half Washoe. And they stuck with Fred Dresser and asked him about that old place. Yeah, he says that old house, I asked him one time about 20, 30 years ago. How old would you say that old house is up there? Well, let me think. He thought for about 10 minutes. Oh, he says that house is probably at least 100 years old.
Wow.
He says, because I remember, I guess his dad donated a lot of the material to my grandma. They'd take it up there and hammer something together, and that old Betty George was her husband. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, I think. All daughters except my Uncle Lumbie and my Uncle Lama. Old Fred used to laugh, start talking about old Betty George. Yeah, he said he built this house, this and that. Said he went to celebrate. Took off. Nobody knew where he went to. Nobody looked for him. Nobody gave a damn. Well, he was gone for about a month, I guess, drunk somewhere. Probably around Yarrington, Colville, or wherever Paiutes were.
Mm-hmm.
He said he'd come home over here at one time at his new house that he built and tried to get in the door. And he said, well, Grandma threw all his stuff out. You follow your stuff outside. Get out of here. You don't belong around here no more. Go on. So Fred laughed. Yeah, she kicked him out. I said, well, she could have been kicked out too good. I said, because he must have been back. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 times. They had 2 sons and 4 daughters.
Yep, must have found his way back somehow.
He must have found his way back once in a while. Yeah, he said, I guess he was back once in a while. But then my mom, she was the last born over there. There were 9 sisters, Nina, Oni, Elsie, Daisy, and my mom. She was the youngest girls. And her name was Coleman.
Hmm.
Lisa Coleman. And Wayne Snooks, before he died over there, was a rat and a half just spouting off at the mouth one day. Whether he knew what he was doing or not, but he was spreading some rumors around. He says, I remember Coleman. I remember the name Coleman. He had something to do with politics up in not Bridgeport, Markerville. He said he was either the cop or the judge or whatever he was. Some of the old settlers, I guess. And his name was Coleman, and the story says that he, from Markerville, would ride his horse down this way in that old shack over there to my grandma's old shack now. I guess that was a rendezvous point, because the trail for the elders, I mean the settlers, coming through Genoa, come up over there to Wally Hot Springs, and then it moves up a ways more and spreads out this way toward the valley, and then ends up over there what Dresser used to call a lane. The dirt road, it's been dirt road between two fences that runs all the way up into Woodford's Canyon. Fred used it as just holding his cattle when we worked cattle. He calls it the lane. That was just sort of out of respect for all the settlers that came through and more shipped that way, I guess, to California. But that's where this Seymour Coleman, I looked his name up, we had Seymour Coleman, that was Markerville, and I guess he found his way down that lane once in a while. And he met up with my grandma, Edna George. And Wayne says, they actually got married, Christian marriage.
Wow.
The Seymour Coleman, white guy, Basco or whatever he was, and my Gobeh. She was half Basco and half Indian. He married her in a little church somewhere. So that's where my mother was born, and Wayne says, and they had a daughter, but they called her Leisha. So that's when I sort of stepped in. Hey, wait a minute, man, you're free and easy with the history of my family life.
Yeah.
Is that, I said, yeah, that's my mother you just named. Leisha Coleman was my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother was the one lady you're talking about, Edna George, and her house over there in oh man, he quit talking then, but I had your mom check it out, how far she went in her ancestry search, I have no idea, but she was supposed to find out who he was, where he's gone to, whether he left any heirs or left any wills. I says, hell, maybe the guy left a couple of $1 million for us guys to share in if and when. You know, I said, it could be on account somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I could. Just
So
waiting
that's what I
for your
told Wayne.
signature.
Yeah, he says, yeah, your mother was married to your mother was born from a guy that was Basco in Markerville. Nobody knew too much about him. He blew into town. Maybe I said, hell, maybe I'm heir to somebody, to something. But Tammy did. Your mom didn't check it out that far. I don't know if she run into somewhere that. Well, you got to come up with another $500 and we'll dig a little deeper or whatever.
Yeah.
So she quit. But like I say, I could be a millionaire someplace. But anyway, that's where I came from, and I was born over there in that old shack, I guess.
And where's the shack located?
From here, I'm looking directly in that direction, right at it. If I went straight as an arrow where I'm pointing, I'd bounce right off that house, right in the southwest corner of Fred Dresser's land ranch over there. You
Okay.
could see it if you knew where you were looking for it. But Fred used to, he did some kind of this stuff that we're going through, I guess, a commentary. Somebody took his life history, and he was mentioning that shack, Indians, and the way he was talking, the Indians would come to do the cultural dances over there in that corner and this and that. And he'd talk about who got beat up. I think my Aunt Daisy beat who was her husband then was Willie Jack. And Fred talked on tape or whatever he was doing. He says, yeah, he says, everybody remember when Daisy, that used to live here and work here, her husband, Jim Willie, he wouldn't behave that night or something, or then he got worked over. He got slapped around with a couple of wine jugs. And whoever he was talking to, they all had a good laugh. Yeah, he said they used to be pretty tough. He said they'd all come over here and they'd dance, they'd sing the same old song, and they'd dance all night. They'd drink all night, and then they'd fight, and then they'd eat. Come shut up. You don't see one Indian unless he passed out over there. So. But that's where I was born. And there wasn't any records. Nobody kept records. I was born. David was born before I was 2 years. So he was already 2 years old when I was born. And I just, normal childhood, I guess, over there at Grandma's house. It was safe and sound. We just run and play and swam and fish. Then I had to come over here with my dad because we had to start school in Dresslerville. I come over when I was 6 years old, according to everybody's guess. My birthday was February 28th, 1939.
So that's just a guess, or they're pretty sure? Because they didn't keep records.
That's the best I've taken. And I think they said only my aunt, only George, was the only one that sort of had some kind of an education. She had a little bit of schooling from somewhere. So she knew how to write her name, and she knew how to write letters and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in the sense of the word, February 28th, 39, yeah, that's close enough, you know. So that was what was selected as my birth date.
Okay.
And I moved over from Dressler's to Dresslerville. Man, I started school the day I moved over. Brand new shoes, brand new socks, pants, underwear with, what do you call them? Used to be on long johns. New shirt. And I'd walk into school from Dresslerville, where I lived in Dresslerville, catty corner across the old school. You know, Alfred James, he was going to school, he was in something like the 7th grade or whatever. So he used to come down from way up the new houses. He'd come down to Clara's house. Clara was his aunt. He'd come from there down, and then he'd walk across to the school. And he was hurrying up that morning because I was walking off to school. And he come right up behind me and he picked me up. And I thought he was wanting to fight or something. Oh, no, I don't want to fight you. He said, I'm going to put you on my shoulders and walk into school first day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So he packed me all the way on his shoulders over to Dresslerville Schoolhouse. Set me down on the steps. There you are.
Hmm.
When I was in school, I think I went to school most of the day. And along about, I don't know, something like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something, the teacher called me in her office. I said, what? So I went in her office and she said, I'm sorry, Vern. She said, but you got to go home. Go home? Yeah, you got no business here in school. According to what records we've got, you got another year to wait before you start school. But I was over at 5 years old, I guess, according to whatever records they had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Today, my birthday is February 28, 19... No. No, you're a year or 2 early to start school, so you go home.